let's just say that I'm selling a business. I've got a successful business, which would be one of your targets for Flipper. What things should I know before I go through the sale process? Like we talked a bit about metrics, make sure there's stable income, but like, is there any sort of do's and don'ts, a bit of a checklist?
So you've got to have your financials in order. Not only understanding where your revenue comes from, but also understanding your expense line and the contribution of that expense line. You need to also understand how buyers assess businesses. And so a lot of the time, people will either talk about potential or they'll talk about opportunity. But what is interesting is that buyers pay for performance. They look for opportunity. But they don't pay for opportunity or potential, they pay for performance. And so the most important thing is your trailing 12-month financial performance. So that implies you understand that. The second thing is that you've got to understand the metrics that matter for your business model. So for example, when you're selling an app, it's all about daily active users. And that's different to selling an e-commerce business or a SaaS business, where in a SaaS context, it might be about monthly churn or LTV or MRR or ARR, but that's very different to selling an app. And so it's about understanding the metrics that matter and then taking those metrics and representing those metrics to your prospective buyer. The story matters less, the metrics are everything.
I mean, you can't hide behind figures, can you?
Because it's not a startup, right? That's the difference. Startups tell a big story and they get people to buy into that story. This is not about the story, it's about what's happened.
I love it. So you can't really hide behind the figures, can you? That's like pretty cool.
No.
It's like e-commerce, like AOV, it's like, repeat purchases, that kind of thing, right?
Average order value for e-commerce is massive. Weirdly, it always ends up being about $77, but anyway, every asset I look at, it's like, it's almost $77. AOV, refund rate. Right. Refund rate's really important. And then you're talking about marketing as a percentage of revenue in an e-commerce context. Because a lot of people are obviously paying Facebook to acquire the customer. So you've got to take that into consideration. And sometimes the growth the unit economics is not as healthy as they seem.
There's different ways to make it represent that, isn't it?
Whereas a content business, you're talking about traffic and geographic, right? Traffic. So where's the traffic actually coming from? Because when you deploy your ad sales team, certain advertisers are willing to pay more in certain geographies. So you've got to think about that. And if you've got all of your customers coming from, for argument's sake, Southeast Asia, maybe advertisers there pay less than what they do in the US. And so it's just about understanding the metrics that matter to buyers.